Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Analytics Edge. If you're into NFL betting and looking for picks tonight, you're in the right place. We've got a stacked Monday Night Football doubleheader. The Bucs take on the Lions tonight, followed by the Texans visiting the Seahawks. What I'll be doing today is breaking down each matchup, showing you the odds, the props I like, and where I see value. As always, bet smart, manage your risk, and use this for entertainment and insight. There's no such thing as a guaranteed win. Let's dive in. First up, we have Tampa versus the Detroit Lions. So the website that I like to use the most is OddsShark. They are very well sharp with the odds that they use, as well as taking in public money on certain teams. So their consensuses are very accurate. So for today, the Detroit Lions are favored by about 5.5 points. As you can see here, they have Tampa at plus 5.5. And the total's floating around 52 to 53.5, according to ESPN and other sharp books like this, OddsShark. So let's break it down. The Bucs have been on a strong run, winning 2 straight and beating a quality team like San Francisco last week. Their offense is still playing with confidence under Baker Mayfield, but their wide receiver core is depleted, which might make them run into some trouble tonight. Detroit, meanwhile, is looking to bounce back after losing a disappointing game to the Chiefs. They got home field tonight, which would be a big difference, I believe, in the game. On defense, Tampa's defense has been a bit uneven, but here's the kicker. Detroit's top scoring offense, which they rank second in scoring, is going to try and take the advantage. So when you combine that with the Lions' decent scoring defense, not super elite, and Tampa's middle of the pack defense, you can see how the total trend makes sense. So the key factors to watch in this game is injuries, of course. Tampa's wide receiver situation could impact big play potential. Detroit's ability to run the ball well is going to allow them to control the clock, as well as the home atmosphere is going to make a big difference. But overall, I think turnovers is going to be the deciding factor in this game. If Baker gives up one early, could shift momentum and cause the Detroit Lions to get out early with a big lead. So with that being said, I think it will cause the game to go over, because if the Lions get out to a big lead, that will cause Baker to throw lots of passes tonight, which is another one of my favorite props tonight. So if both teams are pushing the tempo, that could push the total even higher tonight. So I think the over on this game would be sharp. And if you want to be safer, you can alternate down. Certain books allow that, some don't. So here are the bets I'm leaning towards for tonight. The first game, Detroit versus Tampa. For me, I'm going to take the over at 52.5. As you can see here on OddsShark, they got 53.5. But you can alt down on certain books. So if you want to be safer, I would take the 52.5. It's only a 1-point difference. So I think if you take the 53, you'll be all right. I see this game hitting the mark because both offenses have high-powered teams, and both of their defenses are a little susceptible to allowing a lot of points. The player prop that I like the most tonight would have to be Baker Mayfield attempting a lot of passes, because I believe the Lions will get out to an early lead, dominate on the trenches, meaning their O-line and D-lines, and that's going to cause him to throw more passes than the opposing quarterback, which is Jared Goff. Now, another prop that I like in this play would be Goff's passing yards, because he's home, they're on a comeback mode, and they really need this win to solidify them continue to be a top dog. As with spreads and money lines, I might avoid deep spread bets here because Tampa could keep it tighter than the number indicates. But if you like to stretch your luck, I do think Detroit will cover tonight in the end at -5.5. As you can see here, they're -6. So, I usually like to take either a field goal, which would be 2.5, or a touchdown, which is 6.5. So you want to keep it as the game script goes. So Detroit -5.5 could be tempting because they're home. They need this win. They're coming off a bad loss. Tampa's dealing with a lot of injuries. So I think the pick here would be Detroit spread or money line to be safer. As for game 2, now we're going to go on to the 10 o'clock game tonight, which would be Houston versus Seattle. Now, As you can see here, as I go down to the game, odds have Seattle favored by about 3.5, as you can see here. And the total is near 41.5, as you can see here. On most books, this is the sharp line. And here are the dynamics for this game. So Houston comes in with the mindset of pulling off an upset. They're more comfortable lately and playing with less pressure than they did in the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, they did not look good. But unfortunately, they're running into a powerhouse like Seattle. And Seattle is home tonight, which has a strong offensive environment. They play way better when they're home offensively. But their defense has taken a lot of hits. They have a lot of injuries. I believe their whole secondary is injured tonight. They're either questionable or already ruled out. So with that being said, I do think this game might be close. As Houston wants to keep it close, this would be a big upset for them. They're going to try to slow the game down because they know Seattle can score 4 touchdowns in one half. So the key factors to watch in this game are injuries and health for Houston. If their key players are still out, I think Seattle will just dominate them from beginning to end. But the Seahawks offensive line and ability to protect the quarterback will be a big factor for them. If they can take care of that, I think they will easily win this game. The turnover margin obviously is going to be a big story. Whoever turns over the bar more, I believe, will ultimately end up losing this game. So if Seattle jumps ahead early, the Texans might abandon the run and force the pass more, impacting yardages and totals. So my favorite props for this second game on a doubleheader on Monday night, I think Jackson Smith and Jibba is one of, if not the best receiver in the NFL right now. And him to score a touchdown tonight is plus money, which is great value. I see most books valuing him about plus 140, and that is great value for a player of his caliber. So that would be a very nice payday if you put a good amount of money on it. Like I said before, there's no such thing as a guarantee. Manage your bankroll. Whatever you're willing to lose, you may put up. But if you can't afford to lose, you do not deserve to win. Now, other than that, I do believe that the under, as you can see, it's around 41.5, 41. As you can see, the over is plus money, indicating that it is less likely to occur. So the sharp money is on the under. If Seattle controls the tempo and Houston plays more conservatively, I think this game is going to be very slow paced from Houston, trying to keep it close because Seattle can score points quick. So I do think the under is probably the best bet here, but I would stay away from that pick. My favorite pick today clearly would be Seattle's spread. That's plus money. I think it's a great value. The safer pick would be Seattle money line, but they're minus 166 here on OddsShark, as you can see. So that isn't the best payday, but I do think they cover at minus 3.5. Here's the reason why. Because they have a better offense. I believe they can score points at will. And once they get up to a lead at home, they will try to drain the clock more. Houston's not a high-powered offense. CJ Stroud had a great game the other week, but I don't think that is sustainable, as he has one of the worst offensive lines, according to PFF, in the league. So I do think they get exposed. Seattle has a great D-line. Their secondary is hurting. So if he can figure out how to pass the ball well today, then, maybe the over does occur. But I don't think that they get the win tonight. I think Seattle covers. And as you can see, I like to follow how much money is getting put on these games. Typically, when one team is getting a fair share amount of money, you have to watch where lines are moving. So for instance, as you can see, majority of the money is on Seattle and Detroit tonight, rightfully so, because they're home favorites and they're very good teams. But sometimes, like what happened last Monday with last Sunday night and last Monday with the underdogs, with the Falcons beating the Bills, sometimes Vegas likes to go away from what the public is going with. Because when you think about it, if all this money is getting put on a certain team and they do end up winning, then these books have to pay out those people more. So you want to follow how much money is getting put on these certain bets and teams. But I think tonight the favorites will cover because they're both home, and I think they're just more dominant teams. So it should be the route to go. So with that being said, my core picks tonight will be game 1 going over the point total. So let's see how OddsSharks has that lined up for us. So they have the line at 52.5. I will be taking the over on that, as I believe the game's going to be very high scoring. I think even if Detroit gets out to a big lead, it's going to force Tampa to throw the ball more, which would cause more points to be scored. So I think the over on game 1 will be a hit. As for game 2 with Seattle and Houston, I do love Jackson Smith and Jibba's player prop value. I do think he's a almost automatic to score every week, or his yardage total. So whatever his yardage total is at, I would definitely take the over. If you would like to alternate down, meaning whatever his line is at, let's say it's at 86.5. If you would like to all down to 70 and take the over on that and add it, parlay with Seattle money line, that will give you some good value, juicy value, and I believe those should easily hit. Now, combine game 1 over with game 2 under for a hedge on total scoring swings. That could be another great play. I will be dabbling in that department as well. Like I said, risk management. I'm using smaller bets on each leg. Don't go heavily until you see how the first game plays out. Reminder that these picks are based on probabilities and analysis. No guarantees. Always bet with your means and treat this as a part of the process. And that'll be all for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. If you found value in this breakdown, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you don't miss tomorrow's previews. Drop comments which game you liked more and your own player props as well if you like. I'll see you guys next time with more NFL picks and analysis. This is the Analytics Edge, and I'm signing out.